I've paid off my house twice, two different houses, two different times. I saved hundreds of thousands of dollars in interest. I now own the home I live in free and clear. And if I could, I would take it all back. Hello, my name is Jesse Meekum with another episode of The Jesse Meekum Show, where I obsess out loud each week about spending purposefully, saving aspirationally, and giving joyfully. It all comes down to just giving every dollar a job. First, I wrote on a note card back when I was 25 that I wanted to pay off my house, own my home free and clear by the time I was 30. At that time, I was renting an apartment. I had no idea how I would pull it off, and I did. Got lucky with a few things. Got lucky, worked hard, flipped some things back in the day when you could buy and sell websites, if you want to know the honest truth, and ended up with a little bit of cash, just enough to pay off the home we were living in. It was our first home, and when I paid it off, made the final payment, it was a bit of a lump payment. I think it was something like 30 grand. I don't know. The details are murky. But it wasn't just like one final mortgage payment of, I think our mortgage was like $1,300 a month. Oh, the glory days. And paid it off. Didn't feel terribly different. What did we do with the money? Unlike most people that say, well, I would invest the difference, and then they actually don't, I did. I invested the difference for a good long while. I actually can't remember not rolling that back. So that was interesting. Then we decided 8 years later we were going to move, and we bought another house, and we got a mortgage for that home. And I paid that one off very quickly also. I did this because I wanted to feel like, I own this home free and clear, that no one can ever take it away from me, that it'll just feel different when I sleep here at night. And honestly, it feels the same. It's just... The mortgage is just another bill, like rent is another bill, and you just end up paying your bills. Now, we follow the YNAB method, so we're answering the 5 questions, we're trying to be spendful, we're trying to be really focused on what we want our money to do, and honestly, if you said, hey, that money's paying your mortgage, how do you feel about that? I would feel totally fine. It just doesn't move me. And then of late, with interest rates going to what we would call sky high arenas, sitting around, I don't know what they are, 6 or something, and my mortgage was locked in at 3 1/8 or some basically free amount of money. I looked at the math side of it, and I thought I could handle that math. I could handle the math of having a mortgage of, I don't remember what our mortgage was, maybe 400, 500 grand. I can handle having that mortgage sitting there at 3 1/8 while my money was making way more, just doing kind of pretty safe things. By way more, I think, 5, 6, safely, 7, 8, 9 with a little more risk. And I look at that and I think, no, the math checks out. And so I don't remember what I was doing the other day where I just realized, I kind of wish I hadn't paid off the mortgage. I wish I was locked into that basically free rate of money. Now, what's the takeaway for you? Don't get caught up in the old, it'll feel so different when you pay it off. And also don't get caught up in the whole, look at all this interest you'll save. That's going back to just math, okay? So it's not just emotional. It's not just math. It's somewhere in between. And it's going to change and be different for everybody. And it literally might change on you based on things in your life that change later on. So all I would have you do is just a little exercise. You think about 4 quadrants, and I talked about this recently in what we now call the old YNAB podcast, but the idea of dividing up 4 quadrants where you pay off the house on one row, and then you don't pay off the house on the other row. And then you have a column, 2 columns. Your left column is saying your investments go up, and your right column is saying your investments go down. Because what people are normally doing is they're always offsetting. They're saying, well, you could just invest the money. I just did that a moment ago. I said, oh, I could make 6% safely instead of, in lieu of the 3%, I could have a spread of 3%. So what we're really talking about is you don't pay off the mortgage and your investments go up. How do you feel? You don't pay off the mortgage and your investment goes down. How do you feel? Dramatically down. Pretend that. Or you do pay off the mortgage and what you could have invested, that goes up, but you don't get it. Or you do pay off the mortgage and you missed losses. Walk through each of those quadrants and just feel it. Just feel it. Now, is it math? There's a little bit of math there because the math created the scenario that you're walking through. But what I really want you to do is feel the math. Feel the whole scenario. So write in your journal. Pretend you're writing in the day of your journal where you found out investments skyrocketed and you weren't there to write it, or investments skyrocketed and you were there to write it, or investments plummeted and you were there to take it in the teeth, or whatever it may be. Really try and feel that and see what happens. Because here I'm sitting, we paid off the mortgage early twice before I was 30. And then again, I don't remember how old I was the last time, 36, 37. Yeah, I would have been almost 36. Paid it off again. And honestly, it's just another bill. We like to attach a lot of emotion to it. And a lot of personal finance advice is kind of circled around this very large purchase of yours. But at the end of the day, it comes down to emotion sprinkled with a little bit of math. Until next time, remember, even with paying off your mortgage, not paying off your mortgage, renting, not, it all comes down to just giving every single one of those dollars a job. And one of the very legitimate jobs is paying that mortgage.